A lot of buzz today at the Nigerian Stock Exchange, first for Nigeria on the African continent, fourth in the world, so definitely a milestone. But I'd like you to share your thoughts on the green bond listing and why it's significant for our market.
I think the Debt Management Office is also very excited to be here today to list the green bonds. It's not our first time of coming to the exchange, but we're happy in particular for the green bonds. The significance for us is that government can borrow to finance capital projects, but more importantly, can support capital projects that help improve the environment. So to that extent, we're contributing not only to the climate change initiative, but showing our commitment to the Paris Club agreement. Secondly, is for the DMO, the sovereign is always like the pioneer. So once we start it, we expect other issuers to take a cue, and then the market develops and the Nigerian financial markets are stronger and bigger.
Now, I asked the NSE earlier about the level of awareness and how it's been received so far. What are your thoughts in terms of what you've experienced so far?
I think from our experience in December, which was our first time, if you look at the time of the year when we issued it, just less than 2 weeks to the end of the year, we were able to raise, that amount. Was oversubscribed towards the end of the year, so that is significant. But in terms of, so we have received several inquiries. After that, we've had some institutions like the Nigerian Stock Exchange and FMDQ OTC organize seminars and workshops. So some training, some sensitization, and some awareness has been created. But I think in terms of the green bond as a security for investors, for the markets, the DMO will work with other stakeholders to begin to have those focused workshops that will make it better for everybody.
Okay, let me ask you about your plans to implement green finance regulation, and would additional reporting be required for what is obtainable in the usual traditional banks?
The first one, and this is a very strong point I'd like to make to the public as well as to our investors, for the funds that we have raised for specific products. So the green bond is like a second one. We did that for the Sukuk. Those funds are segregated. They go to a separate account. At the point we raise them, they go to a separate account, not to the government's current account or a general account or another project account. So they go to a specific account with clear instructions that those proceeds can only be used for the projects. And the projects are the ones we have presented in the prospectus, in the offer documents, as being financed. Not that we'll go and look for another project. So those accounts are dedicated. They don't go anywhere. As you know, with green bonds, they have to be used for projects that are eligible, but secondly, you can't mix the funds with other funds at all. So they're in dedicated accounts and are being used strictly for that purpose. So the central bank, who is the banker to the government, has those clear instructions. The Office of the Accountant General, who is the treasurer in terms of making monies available to MDAs, is also a part of it, and the DMO also has a say. So to that extent, we are compliant. As far as the issues around reporting, that would be the primary responsibility of the Federal Ministry of Environment.
What for would-be investors, are there any incentives that they can look forward to? Because usually, green bond, it's new, and I'm thinking that it might take a little extra to get some investors on board.
Okay, it's interesting you said that, because one of the things I was told when we started looking at the green bond last year was there are pockets of money all across the world waiting to invest in green bonds, meaning there's surplus funds looking for an ethical product like the green bonds. Okay, so we're expecting that money, whether offshore or local, to come into the bonds. But as you know, the green bond is sovereign. So in terms of risk, it has the same as the other FGN securities, really like zero risk. It has the tax incentive, and there's no issue around default. It still qualifies as a liquid asset, just like the others. So those are there. And we think for investors, the added benefit when you compare it to bread and butter Federal Government of Nigeria bonds is that they're investing in an ethical products, and they themselves can see how the money moves, how the money works. I think that is extremely good.
Thank you so much for talking to us today. We really do appreciate it.